Thank you very much for the confirmation. I don't want to take so much of our time, so I think we should get right into this while we hope that other registered participants will join, or we should just give them about 6 minutes and then start off by exactly 7:10. I think I'll be a little bit considerate and just give them, now it's about 5 minutes. So let me just give them about 5 minutes and then we'll start off at exactly 7:10. So I'll be playing soft music while we wait for them to join us in the next 5 minutes and then we'll delve right into today's meeting. Thank you so much for joining once again. thank you very much for joining this meeting tonight. Welcome to Resume Overhaul with 121 Professionals. My name is Chidima Osigwe, AATACA. You can contact us. Please mute yourself. Thank you very much. You can contact us on 08183031968 or shoot us an email at 121professionals@gmail.com. The recording for this meeting will be available for those that experience network challenges during the course of this meeting, as well as for people that want to go over the session again. So thank you very much for joining once again. So let's get right into this. So about us, just something brief about us. 121 Professionals is a consulting and business service firm with services that include accounting, tax services, training, data analysis, business advisory, and support services. We're a vision-focused team of professionals, and we ensure that our clients' professional demands are met promptly. And I happen to be the lead consultant for 121 Professionals. We offer paid certified courses. You can also access free training materials on our YouTube channel at 121 Professionals. We currently have a training ongoing on how to become a CAC agent, and you can reach out to me via email at 121professionals@gmail.com. On the first page, if you're not sure of what the link is, once you click on this link, it automatically takes you to our YouTube channel. This is link embedded. Okay, so I already spoke about our contact information, so you have it here again. So let's meet the facilitator. My name is Chidima Osigwe, and I'm the lead consultant for 121 Professionals. I'm a chartered accountant with expertise in financial accounting and reporting, taxation, payroll administration and management, and business advisory. I'm passionate about youth development and engagement. I'm a global youth ambassador at Their World. I'm an ambassador of Street Project Foundation and the One Young World. I currently serve as the finance officer at Street Project Foundation on the pilot project on safeguarding the rights of child domestic workers in Nigeria, supported by Freedom Fund and funded by the United States Department of State grants. And I am available to connect on social media at I am Chidima, displayed on your screen. So I've said so much about me. This is currently a mouthful. So the next thing I want to do is I want to meet you in the chat box. So tell me your name, tell me where you're currently in the world, and tell me something unique about you. I already shared something so unique about me and the project I'm currently working on. So tell me your name, where you are currently, and something unique about you. I'm voting for you in the chat box. Okay, Victor Akedri is in Lagos, Nigeria. Okay, so let me meet other people that are on the call. Please let me meet you. Don't be shy. The lead consultant for Go Getter Professional Consults. It's an accounting and tax consulting firm based in Lagos. So nice to have you here, sir. I'm excited that you are here. My Oga. I'm in the chat. Let me meet you. Okay, I want to believe others are shy or they are typing or they don't want us to know so much about them yet. Okay, so as soon as we get that information. Oh, okay, thank you very much, Esther Tokada. She's currently in Lagos and she's into content creation and email marketing. Thank you so much for joining the call. Okay, so as soon as we get information from others, we get to share that. So let's just proceed. Okay, so what's on our menu for tonight? We'll be looking at what's a resume, why should we submit a resume, what's the difference between a resume and the CV, and we'll be looking at the resume outline. I'm hearing feedback. Kindly confirm if you're hearing that as well from my end. Yes. Oh, thank you very much for the confirmation. Okay, give me a minute. Let me sort that. Hello, can you hear me now? Does it sound better? Are we still hearing feedback?
Yes, it's better now.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for the confirmation. So let's proceed. So we're looking at what is a resume? Why should we submit a resume? What's the difference between a resume and a CV? And we're looking at the resume outline. We'll also be looking at resume, cover letter, and portfolio. We're looking at resume common errors. We're looking at job application email format. This is just, should I call it the Jara on top? Kindly confirm that you can see my screen so that we can proceed. I got disconnected. Okay, so let's go straight into it. So what is a resume? That's what we'll be looking at first tonight. A resume, most times spelled resume, is a document created and used by a person to present their background, their skills, and accomplishments. I got this definition from Wikipedia. Now, a standard resume provides an overview of relevant employment experience and education. Relevant. So for a multi-talented person, what we're looking at when you submit your resume is relevant employment experience tailored to suit a particular job role, right? And education. Resumes can be used for diverse reasons, but most times they are used to secure a new employment. This means that a resume is tailored to suit a particular job role or industry. So if you are a caterer, at the same time, sorry about that. I believe power will be restored shortly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this means that a resume is tailored to suit a particular job role or industry. I was saying that if you are a multi-talented person, you are a caterer, you are a dancer, you already have a career in dancing, and then you have a professional career, like maybe you are, let me say, a HR, right? So you have different career paths. When you want to submit a resume to a catering industry, I'm sure you're not going to be submitting your HR experience because it is not relevant for that particular job you are applying for. So sometimes you see a particular resume and then you'll be seeing unrelated skill sets, unrelated work experience. It's not relevant for that particular employment. So let's proceed. Why submit a resume? It is a summary of your relevant educational background, or work experience, and expertise. Relevant. I'm still hammering on the word relevant, educational background, work experience, and expertise. Now, your resume is your first impression. Before the employer gets to meet you in person, the first thing they come across is your resume. So if your resume is not put together properly, the recruiter can have a negative impression about you, even though you might be the most qualified person for the job. So this means that your resume gets to offices and rooms before you physically. It gives your recruiter a perception about you. Either you are grumpy, either you don't have relevant work experience for the job role, either you're just lackadaisical about putting together your work experience and your educational background or your qualification. It just gives an impression about you. Then your resume also tells the employer if you are a suitable candidate for the role. Suitability. You might be the most qualified candidate, or you might not be the most suitable candidate for the role. sometimes when my mentees reach out to me to say, I did so well at the interview, I answered all the questions, but they didn't get back to me. I tell them sometimes you might be the most qualified in your own eyes, right? You feel you have done fantastic at the interview. But beyond being the best candidate for the role, the recruiter, the employer is looking for suitability. You might not be suitable for their work environment. You might not be suitable for the job. Maybe you don't just fit in. Maybe you're not just the kind of candidate they are looking for. The human bias comes into play when recruiting beyond educational or professional qualification, right? It speaks about your current career achievement, your career aspiration, and it helps your employer clearly define your chosen career path. So for an industry where you can delve into several areas like the accounting industry, when a recruiter sees your resume, they can tell if this person is more experienced in tax, if this person is more experienced in financial reporting. It just gives your recruiter a clear overview of your career achievements. Thank you very much for your patience. The network decided to be so wonderful tonight. So we just proceed. Okay, great. Kindly confirm that you can see my screen and you can hear me so that we can proceed.
Yes, we can see your screen and hear you, ma.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Victor, for the confirmation. So I believe we stopped at why submit a resume, right? Ultimately, the purpose of a resume is to lead to an interview. So after the recruiter sees an overview of where you've been at in terms of your educational background, where you've been at in terms of your career progression and professional work experience, the next thing is to get you an interview invite, right? That's the first step in the right direction. So we'll be looking at all of that in today's class. We're going over to differences between a resume and a CV. So a CV, a curriculum vitae, like we call it, emphasizes your academic accomplishments. It is used when applying for positions in academia, fellowships, and grants. If you're applying for masters abroad or you've tried applying for masters abroad, there is always an option for you to submit a CV. Even when you're applying for fellowships and grants, there are some fellowships that will specifically require you to submit a CV, right? The length of the CV depends on your own experience, and it includes complete list of publications, posters, presentations, basically everything you have done. So if you have done something in the social impact space, like myself, I can include that. I can include my professional experience as a chartered accountant. I can also include my experience as a writer, just all aspects of you that are that you think would get you on that table for the grant, fellowship, or for that scholarship you're applying for. Okay, so a CV always begins with education, and it includes the name of the advisor, a dissertation, title, or summary. This is majorly used in the academic space. When you're applying for masters, when you're seeking fellowship abroad, when you're applying for grants, majorly in the academic space. That's when they're looking at your publications, the works that you have written, works that you have published, and all of that. Then your resume emphasizes your skills and the work experience. It is used when applying for a position in a private industry, in the non-profit industry, or the public sector. It is usually not longer than 2 to 3 pages, And 3 pages depends on your work experience. So if you're seeing the resume of someone with 2 to 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years work experience, and you're seeing 3 pages, you might be wondering what's going on here. But when you request for resumes from people with 10 years experience, 15 years experience, and you're seeing 3 pages, you know where that is coming from, right? It always begins with a personal summary or a personal statement introducing the job applicant. Most times when we look at a resume, apart from the address, your name, and your contact details, basically, the next thing we're going to see is your personal summary or personal statement. So, fun fact, because a lot of people get to argue about this. It's not a CV, it's a resume, it's this, it's that. In many European countries, a CV is used to describe all job application documents, including a resume. In the United States and Canada, a CV and resume are sometimes used interchangeably. So if you're not sure which document to submit, it's best to ask for clarification. So, but we know we're in Nigeria, right? And so that we don't confuse ourselves and submit a document that has irrelevant information, let's stick to a resume. And that's what we're looking at in tonight's class. So resume outline. The first thing is your contact details. Now, this is popular practice and this is best practice. And the one we'll be using after this class should be best practice, right? That's what I advise. So popular practice, for example, we're using this person, Obi Cindy Adeze, and they get to put their whole house address, 5B, Jedelaye Close, off Owodikoko Street, Jayeju Bus Stop, Ajegunle, Lagos State, Nigeria, such a mouthful. And the person's email address, sexyprecious123@gmail.com, and the person's contact number. So what's wrong about this? Can anybody tell me in the chat why this popular practice that we have highlighted is not best practice? Please tell me in the chat before we proceed. What's wrong about this? Why am I even complaining about this? Why am I saying this is not best practice? Please tell me in the chat box. I'll be in the chat waiting to read from you. Okay. Okay. Obina says the email address does not sound professional. Mr. Victor says the popular practice is unprofessional and informal. Okay. This is serious. Okay. Thank you very much for your responses. Makes a lot of sense, and I'm quite impressed. Yes, the email address does not sound professional, right? Now, when we look at the name doesn't have punctuation. When we look at this together, we cannot tell which is her surname and which is her first name. Most times, we'll get to see the name, middle name, and surname last, which is also fine. If you do that, that is fine. But if you're using your surname first, it's best to put a comma so that we can tell your surname and then we can be able to identify your first name. Now, what's wrong about her house address? Is she not applying for a job? Are they not supposed to be able to reach out to her when they need to contact her at her house address? What if they call her phone number and it's not going through? They should be able to find her house. That would have been fine years ago when we did not have telephones, when we did not have social media, right? But for security reasons, and most times when you are a first-time job seeker, there is a high possibility that your resume will be submitted to thousands of people that you have not met in person. So for security reasons, it's best to put a popular location or the closest bus stop to your house, the state where you are in, and the country where you are in, so that you do not have unexpected visitors in your house at night, okay? So it's best to put the closest bus stop to your house or a popular location, or what your area is popularly known as, the state where you are at, and the country where you are at. That's what's wrong about this address. And then the email address, like Mr. Obina rightly said, sounds unprofessional. So Precious can be sexy on Facebook or any other social media platform or TikTok or all of that. But as far as this job application is concerned, she's expected to open a professional email address. Sometimes some names are very popular, quite popular, and when you try opening an email address with them, they may have been taken, right? But there is always a way to adjust your email address so that even though that name is popular, it has been taken, you can always adjust it to sound professional or close to it. So tonight we're looking at obicindyadeze@gmail.com, and then phone number is okay. So some good people of Lagos decided that because this training is free, they decided to do airtime to some participants. To me, I just wanted to do the icebreaker session, but some wonderful Nigerians said, no way, we have to do something about the icebreaker session. So we'll be looking at the icebreaker session, and I would like to see your responses in the chat box, and the winners of this session will be required to send me a chat after this session to claim their prizes. Okay, so the first word, 4 pictures, 1 word. What can you see staring at these pictures? Please let me see you in the chat box. Look at the 4 pictures displayed on your screen. What is the word that comes to mind? In the chat box, in the chat box. We can see people lined up, and there is a man wearing, I think this is yellow. What type of yellow is this? Women have different kind of yellow. Mustard, yeah, this is mustard yellow. And a man wearing mustard yellow is in front of them. And then there is someone else telling others where to go. And then there is someone else holding the flag up and pulling every other person along. And then there is a picture where someone is telling others what to do. So 1 word, fill in the boxes. What word comes to mind? Okay. Odunola has decided to break the silence. She says leadership, teamwork, success ladder. It's supposed to be just 1 word. You've given me plenty words already. So pick one. Are you going with leadership? Are you going with teamwork? Are you going with success ladder or career path? These 4 pictures signifies just 1 word. Thank you for the prompts. This is a lot of brainstorming going on here, but it signifies just 1 word. So pick one. Pick one. Beautiful, I must say, beautiful. But pick one, pick one, pick one, pick one. Count the boxes. Winning hint. Count the boxes, count the words you have suggested, and see the one that fits, then pick one. Should I say count the boxes? What if you didn't get it wrong? But it's a game. So let's just proceed because we're running out of time already. The word is leader. The word is leader. The word is leader. So should we do the second one? Let's look at the second picture. What comes to mind? I think the first response would have given us an idea of how this game is running, right? So let's look at this. Just 1 word. Just 1 word. The ants are together rolling the stone up the hill. Someone is passing the baton to someone else. Everybody's hand together like those footballers, then we start their match. But now we have corporate people, and then we have children pulling a rope together. What does this signify? So I'm not going to have a winner tonight. Wow, interesting. Really, really interesting. Teamwork. Victor Akeju says teamwork. Do I have response from anyone else before we check the answer? Do I have response from anyone else? We have just one response. Is that your final answer? Okay, Obina says teamwork. Is that your final answer? Is there anyone that is willing to try again before I do the answer review? Is there someone else that is willing to try? Okay, so let's check if our response is correct. So yes, teamwork. So because we have two responses, we're going to be giving it to the first correct answer. So Victor, please send me a message after this session. You have a prize from one of our sponsors. Okay. Mr. Chima says teamwork and collaboration. It's supposed to be just one word, just one word. But thank you for your response. But your response came in quite late. I already have a winner, but we still have just a couple more. So let's look at this. What comes to mind? There is a man carrying a baby. There is, I don't know the name of this fruit now that is cut open. I don't know why I even put the fruit there, but I put the fruit there, right? And then we have this team that just scored a goal and they're so excited. And then we have those people reciting the anthem with so much, I don't know, don't let me say the word. So tell me what comes to mind, just one word. I was almost saying the answer. I tried as much as possible not to call, mention the name of the fruits and also not mention what's going on with the final picture. So tell us in the chat, what's going on in this picture? 4 pictures, 1 word. 4 pictures, 1 word. This is exciting. It's a brain teaser, so it's patriotism, victory. Thank you so much, sir, for your responses. Is that your final answer? Because your response has question mark. So please pick your final answer, count the boxes and see if the words that you have mentioned fit in. And then pick your final answer. We're waiting for your final answer. You know, this is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Is that your final answer? I'll tell my sponsors, the good people of Lagos, that these brain teasers did wonders. Okay, victory. Okay. Do I have a response from someone else? Thank you very much, Mr. Chima. He says victory. So let's see if this stands for victory. Responses. We are the women. What a man can do, a woman can do better. We are the ladies. I'm not seeing you in the chat. I'm seeing only the men. I'm seeing only the men. Oh, what's going on? Okay, so I think maybe this one is a real brain teaser. So let me just show us the answer. Stands for passion. They were passionately reciting the anthem. They were so passionate about the football match, and you could see it after they scored a goal. And the fruits is also what signifying passion, right? And look at the man with the baby, passion. So let's look at the next one. This one is a very simple one. This one is a very simple one. You can see people with their cultural attire. We can see food. We can see a different type of cultural attire, people beating drum. You can see another type of cultural attire, but people dancing, signifying different tribes. So what does this signify? What comes to mind after seeing this? Let me see us in the chat box. Where are the ladies? Where are the ladies? What's going on? Diversity. Okay, thank you very much, sir. I actually appreciate your prompt response. Diversity. What comes to mind? We are the ladies. Culture. Thank you very much for your response. Is that your final answer? Where are the ladies? Are my ladies sleeping? Are my ladies sleeping? What comes to mind? What comes to mind? What comes to mind? I like this energy. E for energy. Thank you so much, Mr. Chima. Okay, so let's just proceed. So we have the correct answer, culture. Thank you very much, Mr. Obina. Kindly send me a message after this session. Culture, diversity, because the food, the attire, but I even gave the answer while I was trying to describe the picture. But I maintained my straight face so that you would not know that I had given out the answer. So let's look at this. What comes to mind? The green leaf fades a little bit, fades a little bit, fades a little bit until it becomes red, until it dies off, and then the color changes, right? And then look at the same thing happening with the coins, and look at the same thing happening with the butterfly. I think I remember that biology thing from larva to pupa to something, then to butterfly, the stages of a butterfly. And we can see a young man trying to put on a shirt. So what comes to mind? Change. Okay, now the chat box is buzzing. So we have Mr. Chima says, say change. We have Mr. Victor say growth. Okay, so I like this. E for energy. The men are out for me tonight, but the women, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so let's see the, okay, Esther says change. So let's see the correct answer. Let's see the correct answer. And the correct answer is change, but we're going to be giving our prize to our first correct answer, which is Mr. Chimaruke. So, sir, please send me a message after the session for your prize. So let's look at this. And someone saying, it's me, it's not you, it's me. There's also someone saying his fault, her fault, their fault, not me. And then there is also someone trying to push back, right? And then there is someone trying to accuse someone else for maybe a situation that has happened. So please tell me what comes to mind. What comes to mind? Having seen this, what comes to mind? Tell me what comes to mind having seen this picture. Opposition, E for energy. Thank you so much, Mr. Chima. Okay, what else? What else? What else? Who else is in the chat box? Tell me what comes to mind having seen this picture. Someone else is trying to push back. Someone else is saying, I did this, taking responsibility. Someone else is saying, his fault, her fault, their fault, not me. Okay, Esther says accusation. And then there is someone else asking, like, you, why did you do this? What does that mean? What comes to mind? This is actually a very tough one. It's a very tough brain teaser. So tell me what comes to mind. I'm waiting for someone else. Waiting for someone else. I think the men have won Allegations. Thank you very much, Odunla, for your response. Okay, so let's just proceed with the final response. This means being accountable. So the team lead is asking, who did this? Someone else is trying to push back, not me, not me, not me. And someone else is taking responsibility to say, I did this. Someone else is passing the blame, his fault, her fault, their fault. But someone else is holding the whole team accountable for what has been done. So thank you very much for being a part of the icebreaker session. If you're part of the winners for tonight, kindly send me a message after this session. I hope we found this session very interesting. So let's proceed with serious work now. I'm sure the icebreaker was also serious business because we had to actually crack our brains or rack our brains, whichever one is the correct one. Nigerian English, crack our brains. Corporate English, rack our brains. Okay, so let's look at personal information or biodata. So popular practice, marital status, married, single, divorced, it's complicated. State of origin, Delta state, age, 32 years, sex, male, female, she-male, transgender, hobbies, dancing, singing, jumping, reading, praying, and fasting, religion, Christianity, idol worshiper, Islam. Can somebody tell me what is wrong about this popular practice in the chat box? Are they not supposed to know I'm married? Are they not supposed to know I'm single? Are they not supposed to know I'm divorced? People working with me, are they not supposed to know if it is complicated? So let me know what is wrong about this in the chat box. What you feel is wrong about this. I'm married. If they address me by my first name, I'll be offended. They're supposed to call me Mrs. Something or Mr. Something, and they're supposed to know from my resume. What is wrong about that? Please tell me in the chat box. What comes to mind? I am a prayer warrior. I join NSPPD every morning. Okay, thank you very much, Odunla, for your response. She says the popular practice is not relevant and it is not professional. So thank you very much for that response. It's not professional. Yes, actually, it's not professional. And you're trying to get yourself an interview invite. It might create a bias. They might say for this particular job role, we want only single ladies. For this particular job role, we want only married men. For this particular job role, someone that is divorced, you could not handle your marriage. That means you cannot handle. It creates a bias. So it's practically irrelevant. They might ask you those questions at the job interview, right, to see if you fit in, right? Because we also spoke about suitability. That's different. But by that time that they are asking you these personal questions, you would have been able to prove yourself that you are qualified for the job role you are seeking for. Right. At that time, if they are making decisions based on your age, your state, your sex, they would be making a more objective decision because they have met you, they have interacted with you, right? And they can decipher if they want to work with you or not, right? Your hobbies, dancing, singing, jumping, that's your personal life. It's irrelevant. So if you currently have this on your resume, kindly delete it, take it out completely. It is completely irrelevant. Someone else might say, I'm an Islam, I'm a Muslim, I don't want to employ a Christian. And you would have been the best suitable candidate for that role. And you've knocked yourself out, one down, because of your resume. So now let's go straight into the personal statement or personal profile. Popular practice: to work as part of a dynamic team where my creative and innovative talent can be effectively utilized to improve operation and make significant contribution to the organization, individual, and corporate profit while developing my skills yet further. I actually picked this out from someone's resume. And let's look at best practice. And we're going to be looking at the difference. So best practice, Obi Cindy Adeze is an innovative and highly motivated individual with a background in mass communication. She possesses over 3 years of progressive work experience in communications and media industries. She seeks career opportunities in positions that allow the application of her leadership and problem-solving skills while continuously enhancing her knowledge and professional development. She's committed to delivering outstanding results through a proactive and collaborative approach with a strong focus on exceptional customer satisfaction and organizational goals. So tell me in the chat box, is it okay for us to go with popular practice because it's less lengthy? And if we're going with best practice, why? What can we see? And why should we choose what we are choosing? Kindly let me know in the chat box. Okay, Mr. Victor says that the popular practice restricts our chances of getting the job. Why? Why? How? How now? I want to work as part of a dynamic team. I want my creative and innovative talents to be effectively utilized. Actually, these lines are correct. They're actually very correct. I think the best practice is the best because it gives a summary of the person's background, achievements, as well as expectations. Okay, this is really interesting. I like this. I like this. Who else wants to tell us in the chat before we proceed? Okay, I believe people are putting their thoughts together and typing, and because of the network lag, I think we should just proceed. So there's actually nothing wrong with these lines, sentences, or statement. Okay, someone else has given Esther's response a thumbs up. There's actually nothing wrong with this sentence in popular practice, but this sentence in popular practice is incomplete. So best practice, like Esther told us, gave us an overview, a summary of the person's background, the person's achievements, as well as the person's expectation on the job, right? The thing is, a recruiter spends less than 1 minute, maximum 1 minute, staring at a particular resume, especially if they have many candidates applying for that particular job role. So from your personal summary, I should be able to see how many years of work experience you have, where you have been, where you are currently at, and what you want to achieve. Where you have been, where you are currently at, and where you're going to. That's what you want to achieve, right? So that's why we are advised to go with best practice. And best practice is always written in second person. So we're talking about Obi Cindy as if Obi Cindy is not there. Like it's someone else explaining who Obi Cindy is, right? Not I am, that's first person. So we're writing our personal statement or our personal profile in second person, like we're talking about someone else. Obi Cindy Adeze is an innovative and highly motivated individual with a background in this, where she has been, her educational qualification, she possessed this, and in this particular industry, what does she want currently? She wants career opportunity in this kind of position. So I think that will help us understand better and tweak our personal statements to suit what's attainable in the industry to get us an interview. So there's always an argument between academic qualification or academic background or work experience. Which should come first? Which should come first? So a lot of people argue that your academic qualification should come first, and then some other people argue that your work experience should come first. The thing is that anyone can come first depending on the job you are applying for. So, for example, I have OND, HND, BSc, accounting, and then I want to apply for a social media management job role, right? The first thing I want to put after my personal statement I would not want to put OND, HND, BSc, accounting, because number one, my academic qualification is not even relevant for that particular job role. But there are some organizations that would not employ me if they don't see that I am a graduate, right? I've done my research about this organization. I've seen that academic qualification is very important to them. Unfortunately, my academic qualification is not suitable for the job role I am applying for. But I've been a social media manager for the past 10 years. What do you think I'm going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is to put my work experience first, starting from where I am currently at. Then I bring it down. Okay, 2024, this is where I am. 2023, this is where I was. 2022. Then you start from the current year and work it down. And then I find a place to include my academic qualification so that they see that I am a graduate because of the particular company I am applying to. That is why I still spoke about relevance and suitability. Some organization, you might have 20 years work experience in content creation, but you're not a graduate, and they say we employ only graduates in our organization. So do your research. That is why your resume is tailored to suit a particular job role. So if you're changing your industry or career path, you start with your relevant work experience for that job role you're applying for. I've been an accountant for say 20 years, and then I'm currently applying to maybe a school as a subject teacher, not even a financial accounting subject, because I might even have experience in financial accounting reporting, and I don't know how to teach. That's also possible. But I want to display on my resume that I know how to teach. So what am I going to do? I'm going to display relevant trainings that shows that I am suitable for that job role, work experience, either internship work experience that shows that I am suitable for that job role. Then I find a place to include my BSc or my HND. So depending on the job you're applying for, your academic qualification or your work experience can come first. Now let's look at the work experience. The work experience should include your start date and your end date, your role in that organization, the name of the organization, and you don't have to include the full address of the organization. Just include the location, the states, and you can include the country as well. So this is incomplete. This is Ogun State. We're supposed to have Nigeria after this. Then let's come down here. This is the part where people always make lots of mistakes. When you look at some people's work experience, after you see the start date, you see the end date, you see the job role, they get all of that correctly. Then you see something like job description. And what they're going to write there is the activities that they did on the job. Okay, 10 people that I'm employing for a big organization that they have like 10 accountants. They're all also expected to keep books. They're all expected to make payments. Maybe they don't have segmentation, payables accountant, receivables accountant, for example, and the person that is handling a particular role handles everything. Okay, I expected to do the expect. Okay, but what makes you stand out is you are not supposed to write job description here. What you're supposed to write is achievements, job achievements. So if you currently have job description on your resume, just find a way to erase it and change it to achievements. What are the things you achieved during that job role? Start with what you achieved, designed and implemented engaging and effective lesson plans aligned with the curriculum standard for the assigned subject area. This even still sounds vague, but this can fly, but it still sounds vague. Designed and implemented engaging and effective lesson plans aligned with the curriculum standards, correct, for the assigned subject area, correct. And this your engaging and effective lesson plans, what were you able to achieve at the end of it? That's what I'm telling you, that this still sounds vague. This can fly, but it still sounds vague. Designed and implemented engaging and effective lesson plan for 100 students, for 200 students. Then we are talking numbers, right? Aligned with curriculum standards for the assigned subject area. Then we are talking numbers. Then conducted regular assessments for 20 students, for 10 students, for 5 students to evaluate student understanding of the material and adjusted instructional strategies accordingly. Now we're talking numbers. Established and maintained a positive and inclusive class environment conducive for learning. When you're talking of positive and inclusive class environment, you can state categorically if you have children with special needs, or I'm talking about this, we're talking about this work experience now. This person is a teacher. So you state if you had children with special needs, how many are they? Kindly mute yourself. If you had children with special needs, how many are they? Did we have people with disability in the class? How many are they? And how were you able to manage the situation? We're looking at achievements. If you were able to implement strategies to mitigate fraud and all of that, kindly mute yourself. We should be talking more about achievements. That's what makes you stand out. Someone else will say, I arrange the books, just stating your job description. Whereas someone else would say, I implemented. Kindly mute yourself. Kindly mute yourself. Make use of the chat box if there is anything you want me to know. Thank you very much for complying. When someone else would say, I collected the books, I stacked the books, I photocopied the books, someone else would say, I implemented a shelving strategy to mitigate against document loss. Whereas you just say, I collected the books, I arranged the books, and somebody else is talking about achievement. And I say, oh, wow, that means there was no shelving system or shelving process in place before. I say, yes, I was the one that designed it, I implemented it, I coded the shelves, I numbered the documents. So we're talking about achievements, right? So if your current work experience, you just have bullets of job description, this is the time to think about the successes you achieved on that job role and include them, right, under your work experience. So let's look at academic qualification. Start with your latest academic qualification, and then you take it down. So this person has the NYSC discharge certificate, has BSc, has SSC. Now, the thing is, as you grow further in your academic achievement or your professional achievement, there are some academic qualifications that will become unnecessary for your resume. Like seeing your first school leaving certificates, your primary school, it becomes unnecessary, right? Some people don't even include their SSC certificates anymore. For some, it becomes unnecessary. That's because they already have a lot of relevant professional qualification that suits that job role. So at the time of being invited for the maybe second interview, the recruiter might say, come with your academic qualification. You can then come with all the academic qualifications that are relevant to that job role. You might request for your SSC, your BSc, your NYSC certificate, and all your professional certification. But when you are writing your resume, there are some academic qualification that becomes irrelevant as you grow in your career. If you have relevant professional certificates, if you learned baking in your church, they did baking and making of soap, please don't include it on your resume, except if you're applying to a company where they bake and they make soap. Please, those trainings are irrelevant to some particular job role, especially in the professional setting, right? If there is a break in work experience, you don't have to lie or try to fit in something. It happens to females a lot. Sometimes they take a break to give birth, maternity, or they take a break, or even guys, they take a break to rest. Maybe they've been working for 5 years straight and they feel they need to reflect, right? To take a sabbatical, and you take a sabbatical and then you are applying for jobs again. You don't need to lie to fill in that blank space, because some organizations will do research to the later where you have worked at. Every place you have stated in your resume, they are going to do their research. So if there is a blank date situation in your resume, it doesn't define you, or it doesn't make you unqualified for the job role, as long as you have other relevant work experience. But you should be ready to answer questions around that by the time you're being called for your interview, because your recruiter is going to definitely see that gap in work experience, and they're going to ask you, why were you away from work between this time and this time? And if you're away from work as a result of a child, you should be able to say, I had a child, that's why I was briefing, that's why I lost my dad, that's why I took a work sabbatical to reflect, if this is my chosen career path. There are so many reasons why people might have gaps in their work experience. I relocated from Abuja to Lagos, and while settling in Lagos, I was trying to look for jobs and I couldn't get within this time frame. There are so many reasons why there might be gaps in work experience. So let's look at references. Popular practice, references. Honorable Wale Soji Babatunde, you even put his phone number. You state that he's the chairman of the Ikorodu West local government. They know that I know person. And then the next person is Mr. Adebayo Adeyemi, the marketing manager, Fortune Jewelries Nigeria Limited. Do you know who I know? I know the marketing manager. But best practice is to leave that place as good as blank. So instead of leaving it blank, it's best to write available on request. So why are we writing available on request? The reason is because you submit referee details only when specifically requested by an employer. So you are filling details on a company's website, and they require you to input details of a referee. That means the referee will be aware that I'm filling your details on MTN website, not I submit my resume to Big Daddy Lagos, Big Daddy Abuja, Big Daddy Kano, all the big daddies, including all the big mummies in our Anglican church, has my resume, and they keep sharing it with people's contact details. So for security reasons and to protect the best interest of your referee, is always best to put available on request on your resume, except you are filling details specifically on a company's website. Even your full house address and other contact details, there are sometimes you'll be applying for a particular job on the company's website and the company is requesting for that. You can specifically tell that I filled my details on this particular company's website. So if people have access to that detail, you know who to sue. You know who to hold responsible, right? Then submit your referee details only if you have received approval from your referee to do so. Don't imagine that, I know Mr. Chimaroke. There is no how in this world that they will call Mr. Chimaroke and he will not say he knows me. And then you go ahead and put in your details, his details, without seeking approval from Mr. Chimaroke. Then Mr. Chimaroke is called one day. He's just waking up from the bed. And they ask him, do you know Chidima? And he says, which Chidima? I know lots of Chidimas. And they say Chidima Osigwe. And he says, I'm not sure. Does she have accounting experience? I'm not sure. So if you are filling details of a referee, make sure your referee knows what they are referencing you for and why you are imputing their details as your referee. That's why seeking approval is important. Sir, please, can you be my referee? Referee, please, what's the meaning of referee? Which company are you applying to? Why am I referencing you? Seek approval so that they also have a clear picture of why they are referencing you. If you're imputing reference details, it's always best to impute details of your current line manager at the office, your lecturer in school, majorly people within your professional setting or your academic setting. That is why it's always good to resign properly. It's always good to leave an organization properly. Don't shut the door when leaving a particular organization, because some companies, when you are applying to them, they will specifically tell you that input referee details. They will tell you, number one, previous employer. They don't want to see any other referee that is not your previous employer. So I'd already mentioned that submit referee details only when requested on the recruitment website or portal. Wow, I've said a lot. Okay, so let's look at resume, cover letter, and portfolio. Resume, cover letter, and portfolio. So we already said that a resume is a document that provides an overview of relevant employment experience, your skills, your education, which is most often used to secure a new employment. Now, what is a cover letter? A cover letter is also known as an application letter. It's just a modern form of an application letter. It's always a 3 to 4 paragraph document written to prospective employers explaining your interest in the job role, your interest in the company, and your fitness for the job role suitability. Why am I interested in this job? This job is available in other companies, but why am I interested in this job role in this company? Now, why am I the most suitable candidate for this job role? That's what your cover letter talks about. Now, some job application will not require you submit a cover letter alongside your resume. And some job roles will require you submit a cover letter. But general practice, you can submit a resume alone. But if you're applying to a particular job role and they specifically ask for a cover letter, please do well to submit a cover letter. That's why you're supposed to have an idea of what a cover letter looks like. In portfolio, because I've seen some people in the creative space that joined the meeting tonight. What is a portfolio? A portfolio is an evolving collection of your work that reflects your talents, your skills, your experiences, your professional accomplishments. Basically, a portfolio showcases your best work. It can be a folder, it can be a website, it can be a social media page of your sample work. Most photographers these days, they have an Instagram page where they post their pictures. And when somebody says, send me the pictures you have snapped before, they'll send you to their Instagram page, or they refer you to their Instagram page. Some have a website that they have designed, a one-page website. There are so many free websites links that you can use to generate free websites these days available. Do your research and generate something beautiful for your business, right? It can be a folder as simple as Google Drive. You have a folder where you have all your work stored. Somebody asks for your sample work, you share them your Google Drive link where they can access your sample work. So your portfolio basically showcases your best work. For people in the creative space, don't submit a resume or cover letter alone. Ensure you add a portfolio. Sometimes, most times, for people in the creative space, what is even relevant is a cover letter and a portfolio. It might be so good on paper, but they want to see work that you have done before. As an architect, they want to see designs, sample designs of your work. So you can submit your as an architect, a resume, a cover letter, and a portfolio. For someone in the accounting space or professional services space, a resume and a cover letter, I beg your pardon, and fly. For someone in the creative space, photography, video editing, social media, a cover letter and a portfolio, very important, can fly. Sometimes it might not even pay attention to your resume, but do your research about the organization. If it's an organization that value academic success or academic accomplishments, like someone applying to say PwC or KPMG as their in-house social media manager, an organization like that will want to see your resume, they want to see your cover letter, and they would also want to see your portfolio. So do your research about the organization you are applying to, right? And then let's look at resume common errors. Check for spelling errors or grammatical blunders. This happens a lot on resumes. And this is because we are humans. So after preparing your resume, you can give it to a second eye or even a third eye to help you review what you have done, right? Another thing is inconsistency in resume formatting or outlook. You might use Times New Roman in the same resume. You use Calib, what's it called? Calibri. In the same resume, you use Kandara. In the same resume, you use about 5 font types. And then the recruiter is confused that, is this person just so passionate about diversity or what's really going on here? Or you use different font sizes. Use 50 here, use 25, use 30. There are some places you might want to bold a little bit or make a little bit bigger, yes. But some other parts, make sure there is consistency. How many places are you making very big? How many places are you using this particular font type? How many places, if you look at this document that I'm presenting currently, the font sizes are consistent all through. There are some places that I use the particular font size. There are some places I use it, but we're using the same font type all through. And the places I have the big font type, they are the same number size with other places I have big font size. So pay attention to that. Your header type, not labeling your header properly. That's also a turn off for a recruiter. And for organizations that use a software to analyze your resume, the resume would not be able to pick that header. That's why it's good to use the popular headers. So personal profile, the same way. Don't go and start saying something just to make it look more finicky. Use popular words, because there are some organizations that use software to pick information of a resume. So stick with the popular words, right? Then we have some resumes where people want to include professional photographs. I would say this, right? If you're not applying for a job in the creative space, you might want to take out your professional photograph. Except if your photograph is a professional photograph. You've not done anything wrong if you submit your picture alongside your resume. But if you do that, you're also creating a bias for the recruiter. So the bias might be a positive one. I see a very beautiful young lady and I want to interview her. I see a very handsome young man. He looks young and agile and I want to interview him. But it creates a bias, which can either be positive, negative, right? So if you're making use of a picture, make sure it is a professional photograph. If you're not making use of a professional photograph, please take it out completely from your resume. You see some resumes and people are submitting with selfies, and I'm wondering what's going on here. Snapchat pictures. Please, if you don't have a professional photograph in 2024, completely take off anything that looks like picture of your resume. And thank God for Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word will give you resume templates that all you need to do is edit with your own personal information. So with the information we have from today's class, all you need to do is go to Microsoft Word, go on search resume types. When you search resume types, it will bring lots of templates out for you. Then you can adjust to suit what you're looking for, okay? Another thing that can be an error on your resume is using the same resume for all job applications. I saw a particular resume and the person put copywriter, whereas the person was applying for an executive assistant job. So the person might have relevant professional experience, but in my mind, I'm like, are you sure it's the same job I put call for application for you currently applied for? So ensure that you don't use the same resume for all job applications. That's why it's not even advisable. You see some resumes, I'm not even sure I have a sample. I have a sample, but I'll need to now search for it. You see some particular resume, you see some people's name and they put a specific job role under. You are limiting your resume, especially if you're applying in an industry that you can fit in different job roles or offices. So instead of limiting your resume by putting one particular job role underneath, it's just best to just put your name, put your contact details, follow the format that is here without having to put the job role you're applying for underneath your name. You can do that in the email. We'll look at that as we proceed. You can do that in the email, right? So that you don't limit your resume. And if you are a multi-talented person, ensure you tweak your resume to suit the particular job role you are applying for. When you are applying as a caterer, should be different from when you are applying as a tax consultant. When you are applying as a tax consultant, should be different from when you are applying as a financial reporting manager. So ensure that you adjust your resume to suit the particular job role you are applying for. Now, lengthy resume. I already said that a recruiter doesn't spend more than 1 minute looking at your resume. So if your resume is too lengthy and it doesn't even suit or match your work experience, it's a turn off. Then inconsistency in start and end date. Ensure that you check, when did I resume this job? When did I resign? When did I resume this job? When did I resign? If there are gaps, leave them there and be ready to defend why you have gaps in your resume. Then mislabeling a resume document. Remember that you are going to send this document as an attachment, or you upload this document on the company's website or the recruiter's website. And then maybe your document, someone helps you edit your resume and sent it to you on WhatsApp. You downloaded it and you did not rename it. So the person can see WhatsApp document as the name of the document. Ensure you rename properly. Best is to use your name and the job role you are applying for. Your name underscore resume underscore the job role you are applying for. So mislabeling documents can be a turn off. Then sharing unrefined websites or LinkedIn pages is not by force to include your LinkedIn page, include a website on your resume. If your website is blank and without information, don't share it. And your LinkedIn page does not have to have so many posts. That's where a lot of people get it wrong. Then you start seeing lots of inconsistent posts, just trying to make sure we are active on LinkedIn. When some organizations might like that, that's not a major recruiting criteria. They just want to see if what you have submitted on your resume tallies with who you are in person. And recruiters have added one more thing. They check your followership on social media. They check your comments on other people's posts. They check your suitability, not only from your resume, from also your activities and engagement on social media. So those people that go under people's posts to insult them, to say a lot of wonderful things, your recruiter is on social media looking at you with bombastic side eye. So let's proceed. So this is a generic job application email format. That's for people that don't have so many words to write. The subject of the email should be the job role you're applying for. So instead of including job role on your resume and restricting your resume, it's best to leave that job role in the email. So the subject of the email should be the job role you're applying for, and don't leave the body of the email blank. I remember when I was working with an advertising agency and I was recruiting for the junior accountant, I got so many resumes. It's either the email had no subject, it's either the body of the email is blank. So ensure that the job role you're applying for is the subject of the email. Excuse me. And don't leave the body of the email blank. You can write something like, "Dear sir or ma'am, trust this mail finds you well. Following the current job opening for the above job role," you've already included the job role in the subject. "Kindly find attached resume for your perusal. I look forward to hearing from you. Best regards." It's always advisable to have your email signature set up. And if you don't have what to put in your email signature, you can add your name, your phone number, and your email address. If you don't know how to set up your email signature, you can watch videos on YouTube. Or if you are still experiencing challenges, you can just include your name, your phone number, and your email address like this in the body of the email. Just use your space bar, give some space, and include these details. Excuse me. To help you sign off. Okay, questions. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So we are here after a very long while. Okay, so questions. If you have questions for me, let me see them in the chat box. I've been talking for almost 2 hours now, so I believe you have questions for me. There is no irrelevant question. There is no rubbish question. Kindly ask your questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor. Kindly go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you so much for that wonderful session. It's very impactful and wonderful. So quickly, I want to ask, is there any arrangements around trying to maybe populate your work experiences? And there was once a time when maybe you had a termination of employment. I mean, the person trying to do the resume now once had a termination of employment, and maybe it's actually maybe some company might not want to take up the person at maybe at a go. They might want to have a second look, trying to see if the person is not into bad just bad things. So how can the applicant, try to work around the work experience when it comes to job termination? That's the ask. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor, for that wonderful question. So the thing is, if the job termination was within a short time frame, you can choose to take it out from your resume. But say you worked at a company for 5 years, 10 years, and there was mass retrenchment. That's significant, very significant. It's not as if you did anything negative um, at your job. There was mass retrenchment. The company was downsizing. You should be able to defend that. And the thing is, your resume doesn't tell if you were retrenched. Your resume would only tell you worked at a particular place for a very short time. But if it was for a very short period of time, you were recruited at a particular job role and it happened 2 months, 3 months, you can take it out of your resume. But if it is for a significant period of time, a year, 2 years, then you should be able to explain what happened, especially if the organization you worked at is a big one or a leader in a specific industry. You should be able to state categorically what happened, because your recruiter is going to also do their research. And before they even ask you those kind of questions, you've been invited for interview. And most organizations these days, you would have passed a test. So they already see your capacity and capability from your test results. Then they want to see how eloquent you are and how suitable you are for the organization and the job role. So if the time frame is not much, take it out. If it's much, leave it and be ready to explain. Thank you very much, Mr. Victor. Hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, please, you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, do I have other questions? Let me see your question. Okay. Okay, Mr. Chimaroke has an addition. He said some people may think that if there are gaps in a CV, it means that you must have been off touch in the field. E.g., as an accountant who is looking for a job for 6 months to a year, and because of this gap, they may think you are off touch with the accounting field due to less practice and stuff. Okay, that is like an accountant now that's been looking for a job for the past 6 months to a year, and there is a gap. Well, my advice is, if you're looking for a job and it's looking like it's taking longer time, and there are lots of factors that can play out, right? Maybe the work experience you have fits into a particular industry. So you're applying to this particular industry and they find you not suitable, and it might make your recruitment process last longer. At the same time, we have the spiritual factor that we don't always like to consider most time in the professional space, right? Ensure that you are not just applying for jobs during that period. Ensure that there is some sort of professional improvement, trainings, and value added within the time frame. To say, I was looking for a job, I was trying to get into this particular industry. Sometimes it might even be from the candidate. The candidate is looking for a job, or is looking for a job in a particular industry. I'm seeing jobs in consulting, and no, I want to work in supermarkets. And the supermarkets that I've been applying to is either they are not picking me or they don't have job vacancy during that time. I will ensure that I'm taking trainings during that time frame, so that why have you been out of job? I was applying to different organizations. I wanted to work specifically at this organization, but also within this time frame, I was adding value to myself through trainings on this and this and this. As a result of that, I've been certified in this and this and this. I think that will help us curb the bias that may happen as a result of that huge gap in work experience. So do I have Mr. Chima? I hope I was able to clarify.
Yes, you were able to clarify. I like the fact about that training, professional trainings during that gaps. That's a fine way to fill in that gaps in the work experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your contribution. Mayoga, thank you, sir. So do I have questions or contributions in the chat box?
Okay, good evening, Ma, and thank you for section. It has been so effective and impactful. I've been able to pick a lot of things from this section, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you, Ma. So my question is portfolio building relevant to all job types? That's my first one. And then I'm going to ask that as somebody that is into email marketing campaign and the likes, so I don't know if it is like if I need to actually build a portfolio for that, and if I have to, which of the portfolio builder you have mentioned will you advise I should use?
All right. Thank you very much, Esther. So you have this heavy question and you decided to keep it to yourself or come to chat me personally after this session. No, all my ladies, you have to ask your question. Thank you very much, Esther, for this question. Okay, so you don't have to build a portfolio for all job types, like I said earlier, right? If you're in the creative space, especially job roles that has to do with visuals, you would need a portfolio, right? But if you are in the professional service space, professional career space, accounting, lawyers, HR, there are lots of them, right? You might not need a portfolio. What they want to see is your resume and your cover letter, most times only your resume, right? But if you're in the creative space like yourself and you're into email marketing, you need a portfolio. What I would advise you do is when you are shooting out emails to maybe invite people for a session, maybe send out newsletters, you can as well forward a sample to yourself, right? Or develop something. Instead of forwarding a sample to yourself with your client's logo, client this and client information so that they don't sue you, right? Because of their information. I'd advise that you design something and email yourself. So you can email yourself with sample templates, do a screenshot of that and have it in a folder, maybe on Google Drive. That's a cheap method. Method two that I would say would be to design a free website. There are so many free websites online. Wix.com, Wix.com is a free website. There is this other one I know. I think that one they're currently on break. Wix.com is currently working. So with Wix.com, you can design a free website, right? And you can design sample templates, right? Newsletter templates, sample, invites to a meeting, sample. Just design most of those templates and have them on the website. There are so many free websites that you can design with. The cheapest one that you're not even going to spend anything, email yourself, come up with something, email yourself, do a screenshot of what you have emailed yourself, save it on Google Drive so that people can see sample of emails you have sent out. If you come up with your copies yourself, also have sample copies, inviting people for events, thanking people after events. What are the others? Celebrating people on their birthdays. What are the others? Inviting people to register for a particular event. There are lots of them. Happy New Year. There are lots of templates that you can design, generic templates that you can shoot out to clients to say, here's a sample of our work. And ensure you put a watermark on what you're sending out so that those clients cannot make use of those samples that you're sending out. All right. I hope that works.
Yes, Ma. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. Okay. I want to either believe they're having network downtime or they're saving their questions or all their questions have been answered, right? So We've come to the end of today's session. Thank you very much for joining tonight's session. My name is Chidima Osigwe, AATA, and you can reach out to us on 08183031968 or shoot us an email at 121professionals@gmail.com, or you access our free materials on YouTube at 121 Professionals, or you reach out to me at 121professionals@gmail.com to request for our paid courses. Our website is currently being developed where you can have access to our paid courses at a glance. Right. Thank you very much for taking out time to join tonight's session. For our winners, kindly send me a message after tonight's session to get your prize. Thank you very much to our sponsors, the good people of Lagos that said that no, your icebreaker cannot go without a prize. Thank you very much. You are much appreciated. Thank you very much. You might want to turn on your camera if you like. If you don't like, you might want to say bye in the chat box. Okay, yes, Esther, yes, you can get access to the material. I'll email that to everyone that attended tonight's meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chidima. Bye. Good night.
Bye.